Welcome, Knucklebuster. This is Joe from Coastal Maintenance, and today I'm going to talk about a few topics from A&P, what's the salaries, A&P prep course, if you're eligible. Maybe not in that order, but I got it all in the outline so I can stay on task and I'm not all over the place. And that's something I tend to do. I'll promise I won't get too far off from that. So let's first things first is, are you eligible for the A&P? So for the eligibility for mechanics, Title 14, Subchapter D, Part 65, subsection or whatever these little things called is 65.71. To be eligible for a mechanic certificate is that you got to be at least 18 years old, able to read, write, and speak English, understand it, of course. And we've helped a lot of foreign students as well, from Canada to Latin America, South America, Middle America, Central America. And you have to have 18 to 30 months of aircraft experience. Where is that at? Pass subscribed tests within 24 months. This is saying that if when you do take tests, your written exams are good for 24 months. Here's the ratings can be issued: airframe and power plant. Things before 1952. Let's see. Skill requirements. At least 18 months of practical experience with procedures, practices, materials, tools, machine tools, and equipment generally used in constructing, maintaining, or altering airframes or power plants appropriate to the rating sought at. So if you have your engines guy and your only experience is on engines, they're going to give you the power plant rating and not the airframe rating. And if you have at least 30 months of both airframe and power plant, you got to show proof that you have practical experience. The schooling is not part of your experience. Sitting at a desk is not part of your experience. So if you did some flight chiefing, for whatever reason you're a flight chief around being an E4, or you're a training manager at E4, you probably don't want to say that to the inspector. But if they find out that you have, as an E4, you did that for 2 years, something like that, of your 30 months, then most likely you won't be getting that rating. So you got to have practical experience, banging your knuckles, walking the flight line, hands-on, removing, replacing, putting aircraft back to service experience. And they're looking for at least 30 months of that. So what is that, 2.5 years? So there's different ways of getting this certificate. Let's see, if you're not a military guy, you can go to school for a couple of years. I think the minimum requirement is 1,900 hours for now. And you can go to, it has to be an FAA certified school to get the credit that you need. And here's some of the verbiage here. If you're in the military, there's a DoD A&P program. You can go that route. And what you'll do is A&P program will help you become eligible to take the exams. And that's great for people who are overseas. And even now, if you want to learn some of the stuff and do at your own pace, something to pick up on, but don't want to go to a school like the university or something like that to do it, but actually learn the books themselves. So all the theories behind some of these systems, basic aircraft knowledge, that's a great way to go. Learn. You read through the big books. You'll need to sign some task offs like sheet metal, engine work, whatever it is. You need to get all that signed off by an A&P or E6 or higher. And that's not a bad path. It is certainly a lot longer path, but I think it'll be good for your studying. Whether you got experience, you got your 8610 forms, or you went to a college and you got your degrees or your certificates, or you went through the DoD's A&P program, whatever which way you went, you still have to take the A&P written exams and go through the orals and practicals. I've yet to hear any other method of getting your A&P. The DME is your gatekeeper from getting your A&P. He issues you your A&P. So it's something to think about. I've had some questions like that where, I've heard about the DoD program. You can get your A&P without going to a prep school. Yeah, that's true. You don't have to go to a prep school, but no matter what path you take, you still have to take written exams and you have to take your orals and practicals with the DME. I think it's kind of weird they call it orals. Let me just call it examination. I think it's just a military mind of mine. But yeah, we're going back to the eligibility. Whether you get pathway experience, you go to school, or you get from the certificate of eligibility, you still have to get written. Always bring those forms with you. Every time that you take an exam, bring that with you at all times. Yes, as a school owner for the last 3 years, it is very hard. You're learning 2 years of information crammed into 2 weeks and fire hose to you so you can pass that exam. Prep schools are not for everybody. We will turn you away. At least here at Code One, we will not take your money. If this is not a good fit, if you're not a good fit, if you're the type of guy who wants to learn everything, all the subsystems, the systems, like go in depth, you want to not obsess, but just fully in, then we are not a school. Here, who we serve are the people who want to learn as fast as they can, and get out, get their A&P, so they can advance their careers in the military or be prepared for the civilian life and have those opportunities open up to them. Get in, get out, go back to work on your multi-million-dollar aircraft, or even if it's general aviation, if you want to do that, you can go do that. And you can learn. I always believe experience is the best teacher. That's just my philosophy. The book knowledge is good, and that's just my philosophy. And that's why how I structure this course is that people who want to get in, get out, who already have experience, and they just want to get their license so they can go pursue a higher paying job or have opportunities open up in their area. Things open up. So many doors open up for that. So it is hard, and we always recommend that students get prepared before they come. We've noticed that they're just ready to take exams as soon as they get here. It's like, I want to get in and take an exam. And they get a day, 2 days, 3 days ahead and stuff like that. So if you're in the military still or have access to the base, call the bases around you and see they have written exams. The list that we have, some bases don't have it anymore because of COVID. They haven't opened it back up. Or they just started one, like the one in Nellis Air Force Base. They opened up one, and that's awesome. We prefer that people come in with their written done, but the majority of them don't, because life happens, and we understand that part. And we help our students get through that. What I mean by academia and reality is there's going to be so much stuff that you're going to study that is not applicable to what you're doing. Dope and fabric. Yeah, there's some places where they do that. If you're working at a museum or something like that, some people do that. But the reality is you're studying a lot of stuff that you don't use. And there's a lot of material that you'll be studying. It's just not what you're going to be learning on. It's good to have the basic knowledge of how certain things work. But like I said, experience is the best teacher. There's things have changed a lot in the last few decades when the FAA produced these exams. But unfortunately, you have to learn it so you can get your A&P, and that's the reality of it. You gotta learn it. So FAA FSDO. So if you meet the requirements, right? And you have 30 months of practical experience, right? And you worked on engines, you removed and replaced them, inspected them, serviced them, maintained them, removed a few components like an starter or something like that, or things like that. And you've done all that and you have it documented, perfect. That's the kind of stuff that the FAA Flight Standard District Office inspectors want to see. I call them FSDOs. Just be wary that sometimes these inspectors are new or they don't feel comfortable signing you off, which is kind of weird because then they won't warn the other inspectors, but whatever the case may be. I want to help them. So hopefully a video like this can help the relationship, especially with the FAA, with the military and the FAA, and then the industry too, because they'll be helping it. But sometimes last Friday, I believe, I was talking to a future student and he got denied of his power plant rating, even though that he has tons of experience in power plant. He even broke down the reciprocating engine portion of it, which is cool because a lot of airmen or soldiers don't have experience in that, but they do. But this particular person did, and still they didn't give him his rating. You're going to come across people like that, inspectors like that. So what I would do is call a different office or call your home of records office or the school, like say here at Scottsdale. They're not here. The inspectors are awesome. And there's awesome inspectors and there's some bad inspectors even within the same office there. So I guess in a way to make it a good analogy, shop around who can give you, especially if you have documented experience in it, please look around. It's just maybe they don't feel comfortable and that's okay. You're not going to sign off work if you're not comfortable and they're having you sign off an X. That happens, or sometimes they just don't feel like it. And if they don't feel like it, what can you do? They're the gatekeepers for you to authorize it. And unfortunately and fortunately, there's opportunities opportunities to go to other ones. So please go to, call around and see who would help you. There's some great inspectors out there who are willing to help, who are willing to sign you off, even if you're outside the service area and things like that. So that's, being in the military, a lot of people will go to air shows, and sometimes there'll be FISDLs out there, and they'll sign people off, even though they're not in the same, they don't even live there, but they're just happy to be there. So, from what I understand, these officers have a service area, and they serve in that, but they can certainly service other people outside that area if they feel comfortable. Especially in the military, that's going to happen. It's going to happen a lot. Just like it is with regular experience, 18 to 30 months if you're in the military, and you can't be sitting at a desk, you can't be an inspector, like QA and stuff like that. From what I understand, from what I was told, and this can be different from inspector to inspector in the FAA, but what I was told, that's not really practical experience. So just, be careful with that stuff, and they want 30 months minimum of practical experience, hands-on stuff. So that's another thing. For example, there's a Joint Services Aviation Maintenance Technician Certification Council. I think that's the organization name. And from what I understand, that the military, the Air Force actually is in control of that. And I think this is it. So it says Air Force, but everything's being handled there at the Maxwell Air Force Base. I think that's what everybody's doing. Program eligibility, active duty guard reserve technicians who possess at least a 5 skill level in one of these AFSCs. Check with your Army education or check with the DoD program. Here's a good email right here. Even if you're a soldier, you still can email this box. Things that completed the civilian coursework acceptable to TCF are not required to complete the online courses. Example, completing Embry-Riddle 6 weeks Type 65 course satisfies this. So if you do that, that helps out as well. Technicians who possess a single FAA mechanic rating and are participating in this program to pursue additional ratings are not required to complete this. So this is good information. I'll scan over this, and if you have qualifications package QTP, always have proof of record, and there's a certification right here, the COE that they're talking about. Yep, I have OJT. Course link is right there. If you want this, I can send it over to you. But yeah, program graduations. Here's a little highlight here. An interview authorization to test from the FAA is no longer required. Interview authorization to test. So they're talking about the 8610-2s. You don't need to have it, but it's still good to have it. And I think the program will still send it to you. It just won't be signed, and it doesn't have to be signed. But as long as you have this certificate of eligibility, super important. Let's see, you still have to do other certification exams, consists of all exams that validate technicians' knowledge and skills. 3 computer-based knowledge exams, like I was talking about. You have to do the written exams. You have to do it, just like everybody else. And the oral and practical exams test the technician skills. Very basic knowledge. Here at Code One, we can help you in 2 days. So if you want to do everything yourself, but you want to get some hands-on stuff, we can help you here. Go to this link. So the FAA, if you just go to A&P program, DoD A&P program, and you'll find this. It'll pop up, and it's a PDF, and you just download it. Look for DME. You can do all this yourself. And FAA or the Air Force School or the Army School can pay for these programs. So you can literally do this yourself. Here we go. CCF awards 30 semester hours of collegiate credit for both ratings and 18 semester hours of collegiate credit for a single rating. So that's something you can add to your education as well. Get some collegiate credit. And here's some numbers you can call for more information. Make sure they get that done. They're lifetime. Your experience is lifetime. It never goes away. You can never be turned down for, oh, you've been out of the game for 15 years. No, as long as you have your DD-214 or your military service and show that you've done some experience, you can get the authorization to test. Employers might say, hey, it's been a little bit, let's put you on a probation program or something along those lines, get you spun up on something. But it's definitely not a no, and it's definitely not a no from the FAA, and the employer might just have you on a probation period-ish, something along internship, or test you out on small things and get you worked all the way up so they feel comfortable with you. So that's just the reality. It could be 500 to 68,000, depending on the school, the program, what you're looking for. we get this question all the time. I was like, I just want the price. I was like, I can't sell you anything that you're not eligible for. I don't know what you're eligible for. So it could be zero. If you're not even an aircraft mechanic, we've had those. And, or, it can be an expensive school, $6,000 to $8,000. I know some schools charge that much. And, but that can also be if you go traveling to a school, like traveling to Tucson or another part of the country, flights, lodging, rental, all that costs money too. I have talked to most the owners themselves, and I've also spoken to at least students from every school. And everybody operates different. Just find out which works best for you. If you're a college student, I would say we wouldn't be for you. Code One, this is a school more for people who already have experience. I know Pima does a 1 month after hours, going through all the practicals and stuff like that. That might be a good thing for you, and it's a good option. I think it's like $700. That's a big one. And what we do is we see our course is more geared towards the experienced military guys, because if you're experienced, this is you already know how to read books. You know a majority what to do. You always need books. Safety hazards. You look for the flight controls, exhaust areas, line of walk and stuff like that. And you already know how to wrench tools. You can look at a fitting and be like, okay, I need a 3/8, I need a 9/16 wrench for that stuff. You can easily read and look for answers instead of always asking questions and stuff like that. Because most of us, especially if you're old school, I haven't seen a TO in about 3 years. So, but even if I didn't know what I was looking at, I know where to go and find a book. If I'm looking at a manual and I've never seen this manual before, I know to go to table contents, look at the system I'm looking for, go to that system, find the task, and then it'll take me a little longer because I don't know my way around the book, but it won't take me long to find something. I just did it the other day looking for an AN bolt for these mechanics. Took me a little bit to find it, but then once I got the section I was looking for, I was like, okay, AN bolts, all right, right there, page this, and go there, boom. I was like, all right, now I can look for this bolt, this AN bolt, and it took me 5 minutes, but a little longer than I wanted to. Let's see. But see, like in the military, we had that experience. We can piece things together, and that's what's awesome about the military guys. And that's where you guys have become very valuable because you have this experience. But again, if you're a college student, never really been around aircraft, and the only experience you have on aircraft is school, maybe a program like that where they teach you for a month on hands-on stuff. And even if you're an experienced guy and you like that kind of knowledge on, GA stuff, then cool, do that. But for us here, we work with the experienced guys. We give you what you need, and to pass those exams, we bridge your skills in a test together and piece it all together. See what else. So be careful, understand what you need. You just want to get in, get out. If you're in the military, you just want to get in, get out, and don't care about knowing dope and fabric, or don't care really about these little things, then a fast track course where it takes you from 1 to 14 days and get your AMP and within those 14 days. We've had a guy get it done in 9, had a guy just recently get it done in 10. So there is guys like that, but usually the typical is 12, 13 days is usually the typical time frame for us. But some people just need a little more time, and we give them 3 to 5 days extra to get cleaned up and ready to go. Like I said, these exams are not done, and in the last 3 months, we probably had 2 students who didn't get through, and out of all our students. So it's around 90%, and probably more than 90, probably 92, 93%. So interview these owners, and if they're not helping you, if they don't go through the details, then maybe You don't want to go through it. I know schools where it's just 2 weeks of hands-on stuff, and they expect you to have already done your written. And there's schools like that too, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's schools that, in the middle. So it's figure out what you want to do, what's your timeline like. But we're not like every other school. There's a lot of schools out there just different, just a little bit, and of course they tailor themselves towards the college stuff, the college students, because that's probably the majority of their students. 99% of our students are military, and there's a little sprinkle here and there with experienced ones, and once in a while we get a college student. Once in a while. Like I said, you can get, if once you get that, you meet the eligibility for Part 65, you got the authorization, you go to the prep course, and you're ready to go, you're hammering everything down. The fastest we've seen something done from 0 to hero was 9 days. That's our record, 9 days. We get a handful of 10 days, but a lot of it is 11, 12, 13 days. And some of that is because of just scheduling, getting them scheduled a week prior. So for Part 147 school, it can be 2 years. I heard of a 15-month one, and I've heard 18 months, 24 months. It's probably the most common one because they have a degree attached to it. Prep course can go from, like I said, a week. There's some 1 week ones out there I've heard of, but I'm pretty sure you have to get your written done before you go there, and that makes sense. There's 2 week ones. There's a 4 week one at Pima. Just it depends what kind it is. So figure out what's best works for you, and make sure that you go with a course that's going to fit you. So, like I said, continue to interview, make sure you make some questions, and make sure it's a good fit. The people who fit for us are experienced people, already have their exams or their authorization for the FAA, and you're ready to go. We will not take any money from you if, one, you don't have the authorization. Two, if you're not an aircraft mechanic, we'll turn you away, because we're not a school where we take you from zero knowledge of aircraft maintenance and build you up. We're not that type. We're not authorized to do that. And somebody would just be stealing from you if they said they could and they're not FAA certified. Let's see, what else? What else you need to do? Yep, and that's pretty much, Part 65 is pretty much people with experience. So here's some of your options, and you can do it yourself. I don't know how long that will take you. Depends on how disciplined you are. Why would somebody go to a prep school? Well, life happens, right? You got kids, work, you have partying or whatever it is. You're on missions, you're deploying and stuff like that. All that stuff happens. And the great thing about going to a prep school, you're focused within those four walls, and everybody else is there. You're in an environment to learn. Everybody's on the same mission to pass. That's the great thing about prep courses. You can go there and you're focused, not worry about work. Yeah, sometimes work will call you about, gibberish stuff, but the majority of it is just straight, just going to make sure that you are disciplined, accountable, and push you, because you can get too much in your head. I can't do this. This is too much. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go fishing, and or the wife might be having you to do some honey-do list and stuff like that. And we've seen that where they'll ask the husband, go get, can you fix the light bulb? Can't reach it. And then you don't have a light bulb. You have to go to Home Depot. You're looking around, going to Home Depot because you don't have any. Drive there, drive back, and then install it. And then about an hour of your studying time is gone. You got distracted, your momentum is gone, and then you just want to watch some Stranger Things on Netflix. Dude, it happens. That's why we are so against people going home or going back to the hotel because they want to talk to their wife or the girlfriend and stuff like that instead of just zeroing in. And it's super important to zero in. All right. And that's just what I've seen, my experience, what I've seen here. We get students asking if they want to go to the back home or back to the hotel. I'm always against it. Just, unless you prove that you can do it on yourself. No, it doesn't. Unless you surrender it or you did something messed up, that you did something illegal, and then it'll be removed. But if you say don't use it for a while, just you can just have it and never use it. Where to get an A&P, right? The gatekeeper is going to be the DME, designated mechanic examiner, where you do your orals and practicals. The DME will only see you when you completed the written exams. That's it. You have to get those done to go see the DME. He needs those to upload into your system. And if you don't have those things done, you will be turned away. They tell me, hey, come back and talk to me when you're done with these. All right. So DMEs, I'll go a little bit into DMEs. So a couple of years ago, we did the whole mobile A&P, got to meet a few DMEs from Vegas to, I still have some friends from Langley to Florida to Vegas to California. Some are cool, some are not. And what I recommend is actually, you know what? Let's do that. Look it up, DME. All right. I'm in a good mood. Hope everybody's in a good mood too, and enjoying life. Grateful to be in this wonderful country. Here, when I made this video, it is the day after July 4th, and I have a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be happy about. If you're in Arizona, for example, look it up, airframe and power plant here, and then you do a search. So you have a choice of people. Now you see two people at a time, right? So the funny thing is, DMEs cannot just go to your shop that say, hey, I got a hangar here, we can set everything up. No, it has to be certified by the FAA. FAA has to go in there and certify it. And then that DME has to be certified by the FAA. And then that DME has to be certified that location to test out of. There are several locations, but they have to certify at that location. So, Gary Steele, for example, awesome guy. If you're in Arizona and Dave Raymond is not around or George is not there, you can certainly go to Gary Steele and be like, hey, Pinell Air Park, okay, that's on base, and I'd like to test with that guy. But he's not authorized to test at this location. Like, see right here, this is the Pima Community College here. That's their address. But he's also authorized there, which he is. George Torres, he's also both locations. Kind of a weird thing because it's the same stuff, just maybe change the address here. But same location. But Gary is not authorized to test at the community college. Bummer, I know. So same thing here. These guys, some of these DMEs got their own location to test that. They got their own little place and they won't go anywhere else. So just be mindful of that. If a DME does come out and say, hey, I'll go to your location and I'll test you, I wouldn't take that risk because one, you won't, if they find out that you did that, you'll get your license removed. And everybody that's probably tested with that DME. I don't know what the rules, but usually when they do some shady stuff like that, they will have everybody retested. So be careful, make sure the guy's legit. All right. And that's how you look for a DME. Let's go to a random one. See, Rhode Island. Is there any in Rhode Island? I don't know. Let's find out. Doesn't seem like there is. Let's go to Montana. Search. There's one. This guy in Helena. There you go. That's where he's at. So you can go to surrounding states and find one. Let's just say you want to go to Arizona, you want to test here. You can do that too. You don't have to be in that service area. Well, as long as you can make it there. Nevada. We got these guys. They're here. I want to say Philip, was very highly recommended. So if you're in Vegas, you can always go there too. Looks like they all test out of the same location. So same facility. You can, reach out to them, talk to them, get to know them a little bit, build that, and then it helps them out and it helps you out. You get information from them, see if we get a sense of who they are. If you can, meet them in person, go to that location and meet them in person, get to feel their vibe. And you want to feel comfortable when you talk to the DME. You don't try not to make it the first time you see him is at the test center or the first time you communicate with him. Kind of like warm up to him and get his sense and what he's going to be looking for. They can talk to you and like, hey, you have to read this. You have to know this. And he might give you some tips. Hey, go through the bars. Hey, go through the 4313 and stuff like that. There's the different types, the places you can go to here. And all of these are going to be standards. If you work for commercial, you're going to have high salaries. But if you go to, say, a local airport, a little private owner or something like that, then you're going to have different pay scales there. Really depends where you're at. Carriers like FedEx and UPS pay really well. Commercial lines pretty well with benefits and things like that. Military contracts, for the most part, don't require an AEP, but they pay well. Private companies, if you're the private mechanic for a celebrity or stuff like that, or a billionaire, you can be one of those. That'd be kind of cool. Aircraft manufacturers like Boeing and stuff like that. I think some places don't really require an AEP, but and also if you're, I think if I remember right, if you're working and solely working at a manufacturer, that's not considered practical experience, from what I understand. But just double check with the physio. Everything I say, I'm not the black and white guy. Just get your information straight from the physio, and they can help you out the most. There's, so let's see, Air Force bases, government programs, entities like the Customs and Borders Patrol. That's always been a great place. Helicopters mostly, or drones, and I've heard they pay pretty well. Tour companies, not too, I know they're always looking for people, like the ones in Vegas and by the Grand Canyon and stuff like that. Air medical, you're always going to need mechanics for that. Police, the police sheriff's office, mechanics for them. So that's another place you can look into. Let's see, amusement parks, some of the aviation side of things. There's generators. There's things that, that are key components for roller coaster rides and stuff like that. I've heard a lot about people doing this. Nuclear power plants, generators, of course. If you have that power plant, rating, that can help you. And they pay really well. We've had a couple of students who gained 6 figures, being technicians working at power plants. Elevators, we always hear about, and then we can always connect you with people outside the aviation. If you like that kind of blue collar work, like elevators and stuff like that, they pay pretty well. And they can help you out, and they'll definitely bring you on. Flight schools, they always need mechanics at flight schools. I'm not sure about the pay there, but it's a good starting point. It's a good starting point in aircraft maintenance. Here this is, how much does an aircraft mechanic jet make in the United States? In the United States, it is a average 91,336. So this is a good career. This is a great career, low cost to get into it. It doesn't require a 4-year degree. I'm not against degrees. I'm just saying you can make your way up. You don't have to do education 4 years and then get into it. But this is a good career to go into if you love that type of work. I love this type of work myself. So it can range from 79,000 and a half to $102,000. Of course, depending on there's some factor, right? Education, degrees, it helps. Certifications, obviously, if you have AMP, IA, and so on, all the certifications. Additional skills, maybe if you have some skills in avionics, or if you have an FCC. I've heard of airlines paying more for more certifications and stuff like that, paying a couple more bucks, $5 an hour, if you have a certification. So if you're looking to get your FCC and you want to increase your chances of being hired and some pay, we can help you out pretty easy if you're in the military. The number of years, obviously, you'd be topped out or you're just kind of climbing that ladder. But this is as of June 28th, so it's just a week ago. So this is pretty good. This is a really good career to get yourself into. So if you're looking to get out of the military, aspiring to be in aviation, or just want to be that stepping stone, because I hear this a lot, and this is where I'm coming from. This is not my advice, because everybody's different, right? They want to feel comfortable and make those little small steps. They know they don't like their situation, their current situation. We get foreigners doing basic things, working 14 hours, and they want to get paid more and stuff like that. So they pursue their AMP. And on top of that, it helps them get their visas and things like that, making that next step and finding their roots in America. And I love those type of guys who do that, because they're just so determined to get their AMP, and they leave their families home, do all that ordeal, just like military guys. They leave their families home so they can do their work and provide food on the table. And that's what these guys are doing. They come from all over because we have a shortage, and they're looking towards schools like myself. I get emails like I got one from Allegiant. They're trying to create pipelines with me so I can send them. So I already sent them one of our students. And if you're looking for great work in Las Vegas place, and either transitioning out, looking for something different, contact me. I'll give you the contact. His name is Jason Johnson at Allegiant. I think it's jason.johnson1@allegiantair.com. So write that down, fast forward it, or rewind, fast forward it, write this down, and give them a call, see what happens. And let them know that I sent you, please. I don't get no benefits. I just wanted to build that relationship and build that relationship with other technicians. If they're known, just building relationships is always good. So let's see what else. Before I forget. Oh yeah, we're still on the topic of pay. So like I said, great opportunities here. Shortage, it's a real thing. And even the airlines, Delta is hiring tons of people. They're job posting, doing they're doing things that I haven't seen in years being done. So they're really looking towards the military guys, because you guys have experience, paying you well, giving you the benefits, things like that. So if you're looking to get into airlines, this is the best time to do it. So technician shortage, let's go. There's everything, pilots, everybody, right? So in America, the total 626,000. Asia is kind of like a growing, between China and just Asia Pacific, they're growing. But North America still ranks one as the need. They need 132,000 mechanics. That's a shortage, right? So get in while it's good. If you're thinking you hate your job being in the military, but you love aviation, I get that all the time. But that can be your move. They're hiring everywhere. They're doing extraordinary things. They're building office, like Allegiant Air is building a new office for the military transition program, kind of like what I was starting, but I can kind of focus on this. But like I said, best time is now. The demand, technicians, China, all over the world, they're looking for it. North America, 132,000 technicians. And if you want to become a pilot, it's probably the best time to do it too. Europe, it's not a bad idea if you want to go live in another country and be an aircraft technician either. They speak English, all that jazz, get your A&P, work for Boeing aircraft, or an airport that has Boeing aircraft. I'm not sure if that's legit, but it's something to look into. I'm not 100% on it. I've heard some people do that. So something to look into. Here's some more stories from the Washington Times. This is, when was the story made? Yeah, aviation offers signing bonuses, perks, or reverse mechanics. This was March 2022. So we're still having a problem. Like I said, July 5th, right now, there's, tons of airline cancellations. They don't have pilots, they don't have mechanics, and they're doing 2,500. I know Republic Airways is doing 5,000, I believe, sign-on bonus. They'll pay for your A&P if you're about to get out and work for them. They have a few locations, good people. Yeah, there's a shortage everywhere. Let's see. Yep. So there's a lot of news out there for that. So like I said, there's a shortage out there. They're looking for aircraft mechanics. Aircraft mechanics, they're looking for you. You got the discipline, you got the know-how, you figure things out. And I've had these conversations all the time. Why military guys? Well, I've seen it firsthand. Like, they figure stuff out, even if they've never seen a project before. It's like, well, I know how to go. I know how to be careful, the safety stuff. All right, you need to do this, do that, and they know how to turn the wrench. So even here in class, like, if they're stuck somewhere and we don't have that resource, like, for example, how does a carburetor work, right? They can't see it. We give them the pictures, we show them what the tool is, little show and tell, but they want to see how it works. So they'll go on YouTube and figure it out. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And that's the attitude, instead of like, hey, how does this work? Or how do that's a little bit of that. When you're brand new, you're asking a bunch of questions, and that's fine. Ask all the questions. But when you're an experienced person, you're gonna go probably look on Google, or you're gonna Google, hey, how does this specific carburetor work? Just get you an idea of the theory of operation of it. And once you understand the theory of operation, then you can help you troubleshoot. And I was like, well, if it's doing this and it's not doing this, then the issue would be before this component, because it's doing this. So I need to look in this section and see what it's doing and not doing, and that's just the mind of some experienced mechanics. That's what they do. And so if you're brand new, dude, literally be the shadow. Ask all the questions and follow that person. That's my advice to you new guys out there. And especially in aviation, with all the responsibility you're taking on, ask all the questions out there. But of course, if you're a company, you want to shortcut that and bring on experienced people and just show them that specific system, this airframe or this model. Learn on that, because they're used to going from F-15s to F-16s, F-16s to C-17s. I have friends that happened to them in their career. They mesh really fast and they're up and going. I went from F-16s to A-10s, super easy aircraft, especially coming from the F-16 because it's super compact and you have to be a lot more flexible compared to the A-10s where you have all the room in the world. I'm about 6 feet, 200 pounds, and I have all the room to move around in that aircraft. And they have experience and they know how to look up stuff when nobody's around. They feel confident in their abilities. They just need a book, tools, and that's it. I can't speak for everybody, but the majority of them are like that. They figure stuff out. Let's see. So that's a great benefit to you, even on the like say Delta job board that says you already have the upper foot on who they're looking for. You have military experience. Of course, if you worked on big aircraft, that's an up. So if you have that, good for you. And if you have other certifications like the FCC, that's an up. They're looking for people like you. So position yourself to be on the top of the stack and not just trying to meet the bare minimums. Either they're not going to look at you, and I kind of, from what I understand, it kind of tells a story about you. You know, you're being, if you go to Delta and you're writing a resume, make it towards Delta. Look what they value in their missions. You can easily go to Delta. Let's do it right now. I don't even know what it is, but let's go to Delta. Right. And this is the advice that I got from a recruiter. Is their attitude, right? You want to the big thing is an attitude. So don't show all your true colors at the interview if you really want this job. But you know, that's something. I'm not saying that that's an excuse or trying to keep them from them, because it is a big company and they're looking for the best. They're looking for people that fit their culture. So if it's not a fit for you and you're just going to suffer, maybe it's not for you. So yeah, here's their purpose. You know, connect people to to opportunities while expanding to the understanding of our planet and the people within it. Both in the air and the ground, we are focused, lowering our carbon foot. You can make your judgments on this. I see what they're doing. You know, they're all about sustainability. You know, the great thing about being in the military was that you got to see all walks of life, right? That's the cool thing I thought was cool when I was in the military. I get to know somebody from New York in the city and a country guy in Iowa, and you get to learn those dynamics. And I think that's pretty cool. And everybody's different in the military. I think that things like that in the military was awesome. It kind of opens your mind to things. Community engagement. If you love to be a part of the community, like I like to be in our military mechanics community, car communities, and just doing the good things. If that's your fit, go for it. I even companies that are not even within me, I would just join. There was the Blue Ribbon Project. There's that some certain companies had, right? I think Chase Bank will do, community involvement. Rotary. If you like to be a part of the community, help out. Hey, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that type of people, and that's what I would bring up to the recruiter. And it's like, yep, I have helped in Rotary, donated money, my time to raise money for polio for this. I've done the Blue Ribbon Project with Chase Bank, and I didn't care about who I was doing it with. I cared about giving back to the community. Those are the things I volunteered and not I was told to do. For some of you probably got voluntold, but these are the things they're looking for. This is their about page. Partnering now, business programs, whatever. But yeah, this is the things you need to read up. Okay, people and culture. I think this would be my next stop here. Is this, and you can do this for every company. If you can agree with them or not agree with them, this is what you want to be a part of their culture. You got to fit in their culture, or if this is a part of you and would be a good fit for their culture. So, just read through this, and the giving back has been at the heart of Delta for more than 75 years. I like to give back, wherever that is, right? It's just little tips in an interview, something I would do for everybody when I talk to and discuss with them and things like that. Like Allegiant, Air, and Republic, and some of these companies that call me. It's like they're looking for aircraft mechanics and they're setting up new offices and new personnel for vets. I was like, hey, I'm on board. How can we work? So if you're a recruiter or your HR, please reach out to me. I'd like to work with you, provide these pipelines so I can send them over. I don't want anything from you. My mission here at Code One is to make sure that that these military mechanics get what they need to be successful in their transition. So I'm okay with networking. I'm not looking to take any money from or make any money from the networking part. And of course, money is important, but I want to make sure that, aircraft mechanics are taken care of and eventually build those partnerships, build relationships where, for tools, equipment, whatever it is to enhance the experience of these aircraft mechanics as they transition out. If they need tools, cool. Let's partner up. Let's figure a way out. If they need their A&P, let's partner up. Let's get them through. And then there's government programs. I was just talking to somebody about it. And it's something for you mechanics as well. It's called let me put it on here too. Economic Development Department. And each state has something different. Economic Security Office or something like that. There's Skill Bridge, right? The last 6 months of your enlistment can go to working for a company and just learning what it's like to work in a civilian life for 6 months. No cost to the employer. They get to see how you work, and if they like you, I can come to agreement. And this office, this is where you can go to that office and ask, is this where we can, and this is an idea for the employer, is can the government cover this guy's salary as he transitions out and works with me for the year or 2 years? And I think there's programs like that. They use what's called the WIOA, W-I, I don't even know what it means. Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. This is something to look for. Job seeker employment education, adult programs from the Department of Labor, where if an employer hires a veteran, they will offset some of the costs. I don't know what the percentages are. I just found this out a few months ago. Talk to those people, talk to the Economic Security Department and see what they can do to help out. And I'm actually going to be talking to the Pima County Economic Security team members and ask them about this. How can I connect with Bombardier? How can I connect with Ascent? And and make this a win-win situation for everybody. So that's how I see things. I love win-win situations. Nobody's taking away anything from anybody. So ask your office about that. For the people who here in Arizona, talk to your Arizona at Work. There's different names for it, but the most common one is Arizona at Work. And they can help out veterans transitioning, or if you're about to be let go, talk to Arizona at Work. They can get your course funded. They can also help you in the right direction to get connected with an employer like Bombardier or something like that. They have connections and great people. I bet a lot of them, great people. And they'll be coming into my office and showing them around, a little schoolhouse tour, and I can discuss with them these opportunities for the employers, for the vets, and how we can build that partnership. So I think that's about it. Again, Skill Bridge is your last 6 months. Some employers have this program. Just get with them and have that discussion with them. Don't be afraid, and just bring those questions up, what they can do for you, what's resources are out there for you, things like that. So there's tons of opportunities. And if you get out and you don't have a job in aviation as an experienced aircraft mechanic, you did something wrong. And because they're looking for you and they're desperately looking for you. So again, I'm here. I'm not trying to, I just want to make sure aircraft mechanics are taken care of, because when I was younger, I did not hear about an A&P. All I heard about contracts, government contracts overseas, and that was it. I never really put two things together with the airlines. I didn't think I had that experience, but now that I'm in this business, I get to talk to all different types of mechanics of all different types of people from coast to coast. People are reaching out to me. I get to learn more, and I want to share this with you. So if you're a recruiter, HR, kind of have some nonprofit organization, anything like that, let's let's talk how we can work together and make this happen. Sounds good. Let's be a solution to this industry. That's what I'm looking to do, is be a solution to the industry and also to the transitioning service member who has this experience. So it's a couple of fronts I'm working with here. And I don't know, I just want to be part of this. Like, I love this little mission here. I built up on myself, but I love it. I love when the aircraft mechanics are successful and the job openings just, happen. And then on LinkedIn, I was like, yeah, send him over to me. Or they message me, hey, we're looking for so-and-so. And because of this, Allegiant Air, Republic Airways, just our good reputation out there is people are coming to us and asking for help, love to help and help them out in their situation, and they help us out as well. It's a good win-win situation. But again, I'm Jose Zaragoza. You can call me Joe. You can call me Z. Don't care. Reach out to me, z@code1mx.com. Or, the best way to do it is go on our website, code1mx.com, and schedule a 15, 30-minute appointment with me. That way we can have this one-on-one, no distractions. You don't catch me midway talking to some other people, and the chances of me sitting down with you is probably the best chance. So please make those appointments and get in contact with one of our reps or myself, and we can help you out, make the best plan of action for you, and make sure that you're a good fit. And if not, we'll definitely tell you, hey, you're in Phoenix? Okay, go to this school. They can help you out there. So we're here to help and make sure that service members are successful in their transition. Again, this is Joe, Code 1 Maintenance, here to serve you. Take care. Bye.